Welcome to My Vertical Obsession. I'm your host, Megan, and today we are talking about Cheerleader and the Beast on DramaWave. So this one stars Blake Lewis as Xander Thorne / James, Neela Jolie as Belle Harbour, Shane Dorns as James Ashford, Josh Gatecross as Lennox, Daniel Mellecher as Trevor, and Connor Rubin as Aaron. Again, hopefully I pronounced those names correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. I try my best. So the synopsis for this one is a star-crossed cheerleader and rival quarterback go public with a forbidden kiss only for him to be betrayed, left for dead, and reborn as a scarred, ruthless beast who returns to destroy everyone who's wronged him until the girl who broke him becomes the only thing he can't ruin. So the overview I had for this is James Ashford was Essex High school quarterback, and he happened to be dating Belle Harbour, the cheerleader from his school's biggest rival, Riverdale High. After he wins the game and everyone finds out they're dating, this upsets Riverdale High's quarterback, Lennox. So Lennox, along with his friends, Trevor and Aaron, trick James by sending a message from Belle's phone saying, "Meet him in the gym." They end up beating him up, making him believe Belle helped and left him for dead. They all thought he was dead, only he was brought to the hospital and saved. Sadly, when his parents found out, they rushed to get to him in the middle of a storm and ended up dying. When James found out, he lost it. So after many surgeries and a total transformation, he was a whole new person. Now he goes by Xander Thorne, and he's starting at Riverdale High as a new student. Only he's out for revenge against those who wronged him. That means he's going after Lennox, Trevor, Aaron, and Belle. He just doesn't know that Belle was never involved. He blackmails Belle to be his girlfriend and ends up seeing maybe she isn't who he thinks she is. First, he takes out Aaron by exposing his use of drugs, which gets him kicked off the football team. He goes after Trevor, who is Princeton bound, but after truth serum, he ruins all that. Xander finds out Belle wasn't involved and that she was set up. Belle starts to piece together that Xander might be James. Now she wants answer, but Xander is just out for revenge. Xander finally goes after Lennox and sets him up like Lennox did to him. Only Xander isn't going to kill him. He just wanted Lennox to confess and tell him how he took everything from Lennox. He wanted Lennox left with nothing, and he was able to do it. Lennox wasn't going to let Xander win. So during the game between Essex and Riverdale, Lennox not only bribed his way on the Essex team, but had Belle kidnapped. He had Xander told that Belle would be safe if he lost the game. He just didn't realize Belle wasn't going to stand by this time. She fought back and saved herself. She was able to get Xander to get up and fight, to which ended up getting them the win. Xander got to expose Lennox for his role in James's death and tell Lennox he was James, but who would believe him? Xander and Belle got their happy ending. So now on to the talking points, because I had fun with this one, both with some of the talking points and then my overall thoughts. So first point I had was James's transformation. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this series was it gave you an explanation of not only why James looks like Blake, but about his tattoos too. That's always one thing I find funny in series. They tend to ignore the tattoos, especially when it comes to the whole who was it that I had the one night stand with. When they have very distinctive tattoos, it's hard not to go, hey, can they not recognize this person? So I love that they made it part of the character, and he got the tattoos to transform himself into Xander Thorne the Beast, that they gave this description of how he would be unrecognizable and he worked to become this new version of himself. It also goes along with how the prince was turned into the beast. He transformed into a bigger version of himself as a way to show the ugly was bigger than the beauty he shows. So going from Shane the prince to Blake the beast fits the Beauty and the Beast story, which is something that this whole series is kind of based around, is the Beauty and the Beast themed. It's a more modern day story, which I get into that as we continue with some of these talking points, and my overall thoughts is basically a modern day telling of Beauty and the Beast. It just wasn't a witch who cursed him, but surgeons trying to save him. This fun take on the fairy tale. It helps keep it more modern and human. Now I thought it was a very good job of explaining how James becomes this Xander Thorne based character. So the next point I had was about the flashbacks. The flashbacks were nicely done in both showing James's pain and his love. They served as memories of his father and memories of Belle. It helped show what was driving him. He had lost his parents due to what happened, so he'll never get to see them again. The pain is what pushes him to get his revenge. The same with the memories of Belle. You see these two kids in love, but it's really a reminder to Xander of how she played him and betrayed him. He believes she manipulated him into falling for her so she could stab him in the back. Only it wasn't the case, and when he realized that, those memories became a connection that pulled them together so they could get their revenge and get a possible happy ending. They showed two sides to Xander and helped keep his motivation front and center with the flashbacks of his father. It helped us get to know his father a bit since we didn't get to really know his parents. Gives a look into who James was before everything happened. The same could be said about the flashbacks of Belle too. You see the person he was is now gone. So they did a lot of flashbacks for both his parents, especially his father, and then for him and Belle. And I know some of those flashbacks were actually Belle's flashbacks of James, seeing how Xander connects with James and how she's figuring out that they're the same person, that some of the mannerisms and some of the things he says are some of the things that James used to do and say. So it helped her connect those dots too, which is something I didn't write down and forgot to mention, but there was that, is that the flashbacks that Belle had were what helped her figure out Xander was actually James. Back onto the theme of the Beauty and the Beast, we have Belle's rose, which was a necklace that she was wearing. I love how at the party at Xander's mansion, Belle was wearing a rose necklace that was a symbol from Beauty and the Beast. In the original version, it was Belle's dad who had stolen a rose from the Beast's garden, and in the Disney version, it was the final petal would fall, he would be a beast forever unless he found true love. So it was a nice little nod to the original and the Disney version for Belle to be wearing the rose necklace. It helps with keeping the story with the same material that it's based on. It was also used in a scene where the beast scares Belle. Even though he wants to come off as this monster, he still can't let Belle get hurt. So to have her wear it in the moment in the scene really spoke to the fairy tale. The rose is also one of those flowers that might have thorns, but is still beautiful, which is a good metaphor for the beast. He may come off as mean and nasty, but deep down, he is this caring boy. He just needed a way to protect himself from the pain, so he put up the thorns to keep those away from his true self, which is the rose. One could also say that his last name is also part of the theme, because it is Thorne, and roses do have thorns. It's a bit of a theme when it comes to giving the fairy tale reference in the series. So I kind of love that they still had the rose theme in the series. It might have been just like a minor necklace that was a rose, but also to the fact that Xander's last name was Thorne. So it still had that theme and that mention, which connects to both the original and the Disney version. And on a somewhat deeper note, my next point is scars. One of the things in the series talked about is scars. Belle makes mention of how scars aren't just ones you can see. You have Xander whose scars are on his face and his back, while Belle has scars from everything that happened and watching James die. Those are the scars that you don't see, the ones that affect you in ways that no one else can understand. I love that they had this as part of the story, is that it's something that does affect people. But since the scars can't be seen, people will dismiss your feelings or trauma. So it's a nice way to add to the story that just because you don't see something doesn't make it any less real. That everyone has their own struggle, you just might not see it. For this, it was Belle trying to tell Xander that James's death left her with scars too, that she was trying to make it through the day with all she feels, while Xander deals with his scars on both the inside and the out, the scars of the loss of his parents and the feelings of betrayed by the people he loved, the scars from his attack that were left on his face and back. He uses them as a reminder of what he's fighting for. I love how they brought that into the story. There was more to this part of the story, but it was still a great use of the struggles people can deal with day to day. So So at the end there, I was just saying that I kind of wish that there was a little bit more to this because I feel like it could have dove in a little bit deeper into this theme that was in the story. But I really love that they added it to the story, and it was kind of a big theme for these two characters. So one of the questions that I had, which I feel like they did answer it, but I just might have missed it, and that was James's death. So the question I had was, how do people think James died? It was mentioned by the doctor that he was found at the bottom of a quarry reeking of alcohol. So did he get pushed? Was he in a car? What was the story that was put out on how he died? Because everyone thought he was dead. As I said, people think he died, so there had to be some story on how it happened. So I know we know what really happened and Belle knows what happened, but it's just kind of interested to know how the rest of the world thinks James died. And I tried to look on the board that Xander had put together with Aaron, Lennox, and Trevor, but I didn't see anything. Be kind of interested to know what the story was of how James died. And also, how long has James been dead? Because at one point, Belle mentions it's been years. And I'm just like, so has it been 2 years? More? I was just very curious to know how long James has actually been dead for. And then for the last note I had, it was a little bit of a error that I noticed that kind of annoyed me. So I had to point it out. And so it was Trevor's interview. And I had said how this one annoyed me. But to be fair, it doesn't matter the series, show, or movie. If this doesn't match up, it annoys me. So that's one thing I wanted to point out is it doesn't matter what show, movie, or series. If I see this and I actually notice it, I sit there and I just go, why? Because it annoys me so much. The camera that was set up to film Trevor during his interview and the video feed that we see are completely different angles. So the camera that was set up, it was set up from above and to his right. The video feed shows the camera at desk level and to his left. There is no way that the angles would work. Basically, they were on opposite sides. There's no way that camera angle would work for that video. And I said that it's obvious the two aren't even trying to match, and that just annoys me because it doesn't even look good to me. It sticks out. It makes you wonder, did they even try? Or just go, this looks good, no one will notice. I mean, I still love the scene and found it to be funny and well done, and it was an important moment too, because that's also when Xander finds out Belle wasn't involved, but it was just the camera angles drove me crazy. If it had been the same side, it wouldn't have been as bad. It might have worked a little bit better. This just didn't really match, and I'm not a fan of how the shots and angles were in the scene at all. But like I said, doesn't matter. Any movie scene or TV show series, if they don't match the camera angles to what they're doing, it annoys me so much. Because they also, what they could have done is flipped it so that way it looked like it was coming from the right side instead of the left. But honestly, that was really the only thing that bothered me the most about this series. Everything else I love. So now to go into my overall thoughts. So what I said was, I love the series so much, loved how it was a modern day telling of Beauty and the Beast. I didn't fully pick up on that it was a retelling at first. It was only when I saw the trailer for the series that it dawned on me. And I love how you can see which characters go along with which Disney version. And I'm sure there were some notes of the original as well, but it felt more like the Disney version than anything else. And so it's like how I kind of saw it was James Ashford was the prince, Xander Thorne was the beast. He was even called that in the series. Belle Harper was Belle. Lennox was Gaston. Trevor and Aaron were LaFoe. James slash Xander's butler was kind of like all the servants in the house because he only really had the one servant. And then the school was basically the townspeople, was kind of how I saw each character matching up with the characters in the Disney version. And then I kind of go through some of the scenes that match the movie. So for the first one, you have Xander blackmailing Belle to be his girlfriend to protect her dad, which is similar to Belle staying at the castle to free her dad. And we've got Lennox trying to stop the beast and telling the school to kill the beast is similar to Gaston getting the townspeople to try and stop and kill the beast. Got Xander giving up Belle and trying to walk away from her like the beast did when he let her go free and home to her dad. Then you have Belle being kidnapped and breaking free to help Xander win the game against Lennox, which is similar to Gaston locking Belle up to to go after the beast, but she breaks free, goes and saves him. Then Belle is able to save the beast and bring him back to life as the prince by her love. And one of the last things I said was finally Lennox getting his just dessert, just like Gaston got his in the movie. And you could really see how well it went along with the story, even though it was modern. And I also, again, pointed out that you have all these thorns and rose symbols throughout the series that help kind of keep it on theme of Beauty and the Beast. I know Cinderella has been able to do modern day movies, but you really don't see it with the other Disney fairy tales. There's a whole bunch of movies out there that are very modern day Cinderella. In fact, there's a whole series which is called A Cinderella Story, and it kind of continues where it has different ones where it's like If the Shoe Fits, another Cinderella story kind of on theme with that. There's like 4 of them that start off with Hilary and Chad and then continue with not really spin-offs, but they kind of stick to that modern day theme with the same title of A Cinderella Story. But I also know they kind of incorporate it in some other things too, because I think it's a little bit easier as a Disney movie to do that with Cinderella than some of the other ones. But it's always fun when you get to see a modern day version of a Disney fairy tale. And that's what I said, is that it's nice when a series is able to do that. This one did a great job with it. There are some things I would have loved to see more of or expand on, but all in all, it was very well done. I think the cast was perfect and really did a good job with this one. So for this one, I gave it a rating of 8.2 out of 10, and that is because there was a bunch of 9s because I loved this one. I thought it was very well done, and I thought it deserved the 9s, which again is not always an easy feat with some of these series, so high praise for that. But I do love this. I recommend it to watch this one, not the other one that is basically the same story but with cats. Why they did that, I don't know, but just stick to this one with Blake and Neela. They were fantastic, amazing, and I love it. Such a good story. And as always, would love to hear your thoughts on the series, what you liked, what you didn't like. Did you see the whole modern day Beauty and the Beast theme? And yes, I know it's in the title, Cheerleader and the Beast, but you'd think I would have realized it, but I was a little slow on that one. And also, if you are enjoying this podcast, please leave a review. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. This has been Cheerleader and the Beast. I'm your host, Megan. This has been my vertical obsession. Until next time.